Before, we used to just go all in on the latest node and build an entire portfolio on the latest node. It doesn't make sense to do that anymore economically. And so we're in this multi-node world now where we have to support not just one, not even just two, but actually 3 nodes going forward because we have a low-end portfolio, a mid-end portfolio, and a high-end portfolio. And it doesn't make sense to jump to the latest node for the low-end portfolio. So we stick to a mature, excellent node like 16 nanometer. But for the latest technology, the biggest, baddest, FPGAs and adaptive SoCs in the world, we look to the newest technology available from a process node perspective. So that's a challenge, having to have multiple nodes within our portfolio. A good example is AI. So we have to have AI solutions, and they're not necessarily going to be the same at the low, mid, and high end, right? But what we want to do there is have a scalable solution so that from the entry point, it looks largely the same, but then we compile differently under the hood. Now, that's AI, but that could also apply to things like video codecs, things like DSP algorithms. And so all these things, we have to make sure we package the entire solution together. And we have to do it across multiple nodes. So it's a really interesting time, but what it does mean is, really, this is a golden age of embedded computing, especially for adaptive SoCs and FPGAs, because we're able to span multiple nodes, multiple process technologies, multiple package technologies, multiple different levels of solutions. It's really the first time in the industry this has been done, and it really means we have an amazing offering for so many different applications and so many different markets. So we provide the base level, including inference algorithms. They have to add the intelligence of what do they do after they've gathered that intelligence, they've done the inference, okay, now what's the action? That's really on them to determine, and with our programmable solutions, they have the full and complete control to be able to determine what the next steps should be for their system. Yeah, it's a great question about physical AI. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone seems to be jumping on that term, right? It's the latest craze. What's interesting from our perspective is, if you really think about it, we've actually been doing this for a long time now. One of our biggest use cases is for sensor processing. Well, guess what? If you're doing physical AI, it's all about the senses. So you're pulling all these senses together and then making an action, replicating the brain. And this is really what we've been doing for a long time now. So from our perspective, the sensing is our sweet spot. That is where we do so much of our business today. The brain part is fairly new, so that's all the big AI part that's coming up. Our goal there is to make sure with our open source portfolio, you start with the open source tools you're already familiar with as a developer, PyTorch, Onyx. You use those, leverage that so you're not having to change your workflow. Actually, the power of the AMD portfolio is you can target multiple of our devices with a different compiler under the hood. Again, the entry point can be the same, and then under the hood, our tools will compile to that technology. So from a design flow perspective, you have a lot of exploratory ways that you can do your proof of concepts, come up with the best solution, and then whichever solution that is best, target that particular device for your solution. Yeah, the future is really bright. Our goal is to give customers the choice to support whatever type of system they build, to do whatever they need to do. And again, that's why you need the programmability, not just in software, but also in hardware, because most of these systems, especially if they're physical AI, have to be real time. You can't have a lag. And so that's where you need the programmable hardware coupled with the programmable software, and our offering allows you to blend those together to come up with the best solution, regardless of the magnitude of the physical AI solution, whether it's a small solution to a very large, very comprehensive platform and solution. We have the devices, the solutions, the tools that will allow developers to get there.